Hello, this is Aubrey Light. I'm Mary. I give a conservative perspective about the world around me. Feedback is immensely important. Feel free to reach out to me. 2 ways to do this is through email and YouTube. And word of mouth really helps a lot. So you know somebody that's interested in my content, pass the word around about the Harboring Light. Alright, so it's Friday, so I'm going to get into current events. So here we go. Okay, so with Dolly Parton passing and Hayden Panettiere, and then also give thoughts about Bill Gates and his thoughts on AI and everything. So these certain topics here, they bring about they bring about the importance of being transparent, being grounded, being down to earth. And with the passing of Dolly Parton, that was really embedded into her, because it's really noble to think about that, how as long as a career that she had and all the impact that she had, and with her music and her businesses and everything else, she always stayed true to her roots, which was kindness, understanding, and don't ever be ashamed of who you are, what you are. You don't be pretentious, really. And I think, that's a real learning lesson, too. And I think it's unfortunate that, this isn't something new with the aspects of different generations, with having the influence to be something other than you're not, But it's really something to treasure and take care of when you see and people who are notable. Do all that they can to stay true to their roots. And also, what's really important to notify about Dolly Parton and her legacy is that she really made it relatable to what country is all about. Now that's something that's hard, that for the most part it's really hard to do. Now, Reba, along the lines of Dolly Parton, Reba McEntire was able to achieve that success. The list goes on. You can say, Shania Twain, and there's so that I'll spend hours talking about that, but the list goes on here. And what was nice to know is that they showed the importance of storytelling, right? With Dolly Parton, a lot of her songs had to do with her telling, letting people know where she came from, and the importance of understanding, which is really true, and which is very a big testament to the American spirit. You know, it doesn't matter where you start. It's just what the journey and how you get to the next step and the next step and the next milestone and the next milestone and how you finish. And that was exemplified in everything that she did. And then, you know, with her businesses, she did what she could, and she stressed the importance of giving back, right? To giving back to the community, and the importance of understanding that, you know, that adage says, right? You know, you don't really understand anything until it's at your doorstep, right? And she had that mentality. Well, you know, you might that's true. You know, having it at your doorstep, but why is it at your doorstep? And do you want to keep it at your doorstep? You know. And so what that meant to me, and what I'm merely speaking from what I saw with her contributions to everything, and as far as making sure with charitable donations and charitable acts that she did, she understands the importance of, you can't just throw money at the situation. You just got and she understood the importance of that. In order to solve issues like that, it's complicated, and you have to also be patient and patient, and you also have to get out of yourself, get out of your comfort zone, and see what you have to do next and next and next in order to solve the issues. Because a lot of things that she did, you know, for us, literacy, you know, helping with hunger, you know, so many things. She had her wits about her to understand that, you know, it takes more than myself. It takes a team, and it takes, you know, true will to actually want to help, to put your hands in the dirt, get in there and make true changes, instead of just, you know, putting on airs and doing things for the notoriety of it. Now, personally, I understand that. Is a really good example of that. Like, now, there's been a lot of situations where, you know, celebrities do these charitable things, but they don't actually care. You know, they're just, it's just a false precedent, right? And so now, I'm not saying that was always the case for Honor Society, but you know, I saw that a lot when I was growing up, with the aspects of certain chapters of Honor Society. You know, when it comes to when you get into high school, stuff like that, right? And so they ask you do something as far as to show your merit. And so, you know, I was given a paper, you know, like to itemize and say what kind of charitable acts that you've done, or, you know, are you and yourself, if you haven't done enough, go and do something, right? Well, that's nice, and the gesture of it, but I don't know. That's something that I see it as, it's its own reward. That nothing ever good comes out of doing something, you know, for credit, right? That's what I'm getting at. And she understood the worth in that. You just do something because you're supposed to be doing it. You should do it. And it doesn't matter about the credit. It doesn't matter about anything. Just go ahead and do something if you can do it. And she showcased that time after time after time, right? And I think that's why she was so beloved, and why she would continue to be very notable as time goes on, because she understood the spirit of just being humble and care. She understood and really appreciate that, and we really appreciate her. Many blessings to her family, and she will be truly missed. Now, on to Hayden Panettiere. Now, with Hayden Panettiere, it's really interesting with the aspects. Now they're trying to say with her passing, that past kicking the can around, so to speak, passing the blame, saying, well, maybe her boyfriend had something to do with it, or that whispering gossip stuff. Looking towards him. Oh, he influenced her to be the way that she was. How is it, now I don't want to stay on this topic too much, because that's taken away, which these things shouldn't be taken away. You should, what should be really important is, the point that I'm driving home is, what should be really important is, instead of kicking the can around and passing the blame, really look at the situation or the dynamic of the relationship. So why is it when, it's a woman who, there was a time where, that stuff was called out. There are, certain people who are honest about this situation, they call it out. They essentially call them gold diggers, which they are, But most of the time, how it's presented is, oh, well, she leveled up, or she's something, whatever, that she, just being a woman or just being present is worthy enough for a notable man, or, what have you. But it's always suspicious when it's a man who wants to be in a relationship with a notable woman. Why the double standard is really rearing its ugly head there. You gotta love that. And I don't know, I can't stress enough. It's really important when things like this happen, when as far as this whole thing with Hollywood, we really need to look at and reevaluate and say, why is that that's just written off as something normal to be either using substances as a means to be a part of your routine, or being inappropriate is a part of the work rapport. When these situations come about, I just think it's important to talk about them, saying why is that, and then talk to people who have seen things like this, and give commentary about it, and just be honest with it too, because that and then that in itself, if you keep these kind of issues accountable, things will ultimately change. And You see, and that would should be the goal, but unfortunately, it's not the goal. And that's what I see a lot with the issues where we have with podcasts, or we have with not all podcasts are like that. You know, me and myself, and there's a fortunate there's a lot of people out there that see the importance of having a podcast where it should be, you know, a opportunity to actually, you know, be informative and actually give enlightenment and real impact for the flourishment of society, right? Instead of just going on the bandwagon of airing your dirty laundry here, you know, that you know that these things should be highlighted and talked about, because that is really, it's just sad to see that's been encouraged and just seen as normal for so many years. All of this unscrupulous acts in the entertainment business. And that's my thoughts about that. Alright, so Bill Gates. Alright, so here's my thing that I have with him and people like him. He's part of the problem, okay? Now, I respect everything that he has done for the aspects of as far as Microsoft and all the innovations that have happened, and the growth and the development with technology. But at the same time, I don't know. Like, I can't stress enough, you know, he's a part of the problem, because he's a what do you say, the best, bad faith and a hypocrite, because he doesn't actually, you know, say things or do things for the greater good or to implement the aspect of the community. He does things just to be, you know what, to be judgmental, or to just, there's just no real he doesn't have real empathy, you know. That's what the point that I'm getting at. And then what he's saying about this whole aspects of AI and everything else, I see AI as this, right? Yes, if you let it be something. Here, hold on, I'll be right back. Well, I'm going to take that back. Now, you can't. Now, there's certain things that are out of your realm that you just, it's hard for you to understand. But, you know, if you're interested in technology and or you have a level head about it, you know, you start to realize, now I'm really speaking from my point of view. You know, I'm actually very interested in technology, and I think it's, yeah, I grew up in where that was more and more of a form, you know, to have technology, you know, in your day-to-day life. But, you know, it's just some people who are more inclined to be techie, as, you know, so to speak, versus others. So, you know, I have a different experience than, you know, other people might with it. But I just see it as, you know, like I'm saying, where you can't understand everything, you know, like even though you're very interested, or you've done something professionally with certain topics that you know about, doesn't mean that you know every single thing. That's just, you know, it's delusional if you think otherwise, right? There's always something to learn. There's always somebody that knows more than you, and it's just that's just what it is, and that's great, But at the same time, I say with AI and everything else, and this whole thing, what Bill Gates has said, besides AI, what he has said about the environment impact, or nutritional impact, or what have you, or and doing things as far as helping in third world communities, or whatever. He has said, a lot of those things, ideas that he has implemented and talked about, they're not grounded in what. He's only looking at it from his perspective. He's not trying to actually understand the issues to implement real change, because with AI, okay, getting back to that, there are a lot of things that are problems. There are a lot of issues with it, but at the same time, if you have the mentality of looking at it as another tool and figuring out that tool, I think that can reset your attitude about AI and its implement on our society. So, tool in itself, what does that mean? Or, the verbiage of it, or the word, the use of it. You tools, essentially, when you think about it, you use those as to fix something, right? Or when I'm saying about the verbiage and a social usage of a tool, yes. That is a negative connotation, as a useful idiot pretty much is somebody that you can easily manipulate, right? So when you see that word used in different situations, what it actually means, as far as fixing something versus the social commentary or usage of it. When you unite those things together, it means to me, it means that it's something that you have as an aid to make a decision about what to do, what not to do, where to go, what not to go, how to go about certain situations. And I think if people like Bill Gates were really but that'll never be a thing, because he doesn't have that within him. He's not an ethical person, really. No, he can present himself as such, but he just when you strip everything down and tear everything apart, you can see that's just what's there, right? To just talk about technology in a way is, how's it impactful for everyday use, everyday improvement. And I think if we have conversations like that with the implement, what is AI supposed to do for the impact of different uses, how people actually feel about AI and all these kind of things, that can help with filtering out unwanted noise, like Bill Gates. So that's just really my thoughts here for the current week. All right, so can't stress enough, I really appreciate all of y'all, and y'all want to continue have this conversation to continue, feel free to reach out to me. 2 ways to do this is, of course, through email. You'll get immediate response that way, and comments on YouTube is greatly appreciated. So this reaches the end of the Harvard line. Tune in, turn up, and definitely take care. Bye-bye for now.